any sudden movements.
I will not. I will not. Take it to the bank. Okay.
Just about ready to go live. And this is Karen with newclevelandradio.net. And it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo, on this very cold, almost snowy winter Thursday. Now, wait a second. Isn't our show on Tuesday?
Yeah.
How did we get to Thursday?
How did we get? It's a long and sordid tale, Karen. Hi, this is Paul Seaburn, everybody's favorite host of What in the World? Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. The answer to Karen Hale's question. Karen Hale, by the way, is our producer, co-host, and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our platform. And she has every right in the world to ask what's been going on. Why are we not on Tuesday? Because it's my fault. I've been having internet issues, which I don't want to talk about because, as I mentioned while we were offline, we're running on fumes right now. So we're not going to make any sudden movements and make sure that we last through the entire hour. So you get
Absolutely.
the full blast of everything. The great news, also commentary and sports from my old buddy, John DiNallo. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Paul and Karen. And yes, even though it's Thursday, the quality of our show on Thursday will be as good as or better than it normally is on Tuesday.
Amen.
We better
Amen,
be careful.
John. Thank you. Yeah. John is wearing his Browns hat, even though the Browns are out of the playoffs. But we had a great run. I think everybody in Cleveland feels that way.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul and Karen and audience. I mean, the Browns really they played very well in the second half of the year. They gave fans something to cheer for here that we haven't had for a couple of years, and was a lot of hope and a lot of fun actually.
Right.
So
Yeah.
even though we're knocked out of the first round, it was a very successul season, and thank goodness to the players that were able to still play and were not hurt. And they really played their hearts out for Cleveland. So it's a shout out to them, and we're looking for better things next year.
And our fans in Houston must be ecstatic.
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah, fill us in, Paul. Let us know what's going on.
No. They are suffering right now because for a few days this week, it was colder in Houston than it was in Cleveland.
Right.
So, yeah, they can't even afford to celebrate their massive win Saturday over the Browns. But anyway, we're going to pick up the slack with What in the World. Again, everybody's favorite weird news show, real news, sometimes strange, always funny. We've got some great strange news for you this week, plus a great sport from John. We got why you can't have a crawfish boil in Colorado. I've been to Colorado. I didn't know that this was illegal. We're going to talk about that. What monkeys can give you in Florida. We have a lot of listeners down in Florida, so you may want to tune into this. More on the demise of fruit stripe gum. Boy, this has been the most controversial story on my Facebook page this week. What happened to fruit stripe gum? We're going to talk about it for all you baby boomers out there. For my paranormal friends, story of 2-foot aliens from Peru. That's 2 foot tall, not 2 foot, one on each leg. They have those too.
That's very funny. That's very funny by you.
Let's see what else. Oh, a good reason to get paddled. Boy, we're going to find out about that. Plus some more odd news. World records trivia. John's got a great sport, and then we'll play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. But first, I want to give a shout out to all of our listeners. We have the best listeners in the world, in the podcast world, maybe even in the entire known universe. And I've got a bunch of examples today, starting with something I got from our friend Brian down in West Virginia. John and I both know Brian. Brian is he is in my high school Hall of Fame. So he's a wrestling coach, great wrestler when he was at our school. So Brian listens to the show. He pays very close attention. And he picked up on a story recently and sent me some information that said how much people love our show in West Virginia, and especially how much they love me. Now,
Wow.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, I
glad they
know that
love you.
part is hard to believe.
You're so humble. You're so humble with that, Paul. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I get this package yesterday from Brian, and the first thing I find is this photo here. Now,
Oh,
you
yep,
remember this photo? This is
yep,
the
the
guy
cheese dog.
yeah, he made a statue. This was in England. He made a statue of a dog out of slices of cheese. Beautiful, beautiful statue. Got a lot of hits on Facebook. Um, so Brian sent me this note. He said that I have a cheese statue in West Virginia, which I didn't even know about. He said,
Wow.
he says, I am the big cheese in West Virginia. They sell silhouette slices of me at a local diner next to the Bigfoot display. And he sent me a photo of me and my silhouette, the statue. Wait till you see this. Here you go. So,
Oh, that looks just like you.
doesn't
Yes,
that look good? Piece of cheese
yes,
looks just like me. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh my Lord.
So good old Brian, thank you so much for that. I think I'm gonna have the cheese for dinner. So I've been waiting to do the show so we could eat the cheese, so to speak. All right, I've got a couple more shout outs to some of our listeners later in the show. So let's get right to it. So something I learned in Texas, I didn't know this until I went to Texas. If you're boiling water and you're not going to use it for coffee, what you should do is put some crawfish in it and have a crawfish boil, because that's the only thing that boiling water is good for in Texas. Coffee, crawfish boil. They don't like tea. Coffee, crawfish boil. So crawfish boils, I found out, is what you do when your Yankee friends come to visit you from up north, because they're going to be looking for barbecue. That's what they come to Texas for, barbecue.
Right.
And instead, you serve them this big pot of boiling bait that you pull out and you dump on a piece of newspaper and you tell them how great it is. I did that. People did that to me, and I did it to people who came to visit me. It's the tradition in Texas, especially in Houston. Bait. But at least it's legal in Texas. Now, I just found out that there was a law in the state of Colorado that makes it illegal to hold crawfish boils in that state, the Rocky Mountain state. I did not know that. Turns out a lot of seafood restaurants in Colorado also did not know that, and they have been breaking the law for decades. The reason why is it's illegal to import live red swamp crawfish, which are what the crawfish that are in the boil, and the importers were unaware of breaking it. So at the end of last year, they passed a new law. So the law just went into effect now. So technically, you are now legal, but you have to follow the rules. Of course, there's more rules. So no person may possess an individual crawfish alive for more than 72 hours. Now that's a long time. That crawfish isn't going to be too happy after a few hours.
It's going to die on its own.
Exactly. Exactly. And nobody eats dead crawfish boil. I mean, the crawfish is dead eventually, but you want it live. Okay. Any person who possesses the species alive must have, one, a copy of their license authorizing the importation of crawfish. Two, a receipt reflecting the date they took possession of the crawfish. This sounds like right out of Law and Order Special Fish Unit or something. And number three, the license costs $91 per year. So you have to have a current license and renew it every year. So, and also, if you don't use all the crawfish, you cannot release them into the wild or use them as bait. Yeah. Let me tell you, it's less of a hassle to drive to Texas or Louisiana than trying to get crawfish in
Colorado.
Yeah.
So what does crawfish taste like? Because it looks gross.
Oh, I have a photo. That's right. I thank you for it, Karen. Boy, it's a good thing you came to rehearsal. Let's see. Here we go. This is a photo of a crawfish boil. Now, if in the Northeast Ohio area, probably in the Midwest, the Northeast, we have clam bakes. This is very similar to a clam bake, where you dump clams in a big pot and you throw in potatoes and corn and beans and all kind of other vegetable, shrimp maybe, and you boil the heck out of it until it's all cooked, and then you serve it. Now, we don't serve it on a pile of newspapers like they do with crawfish boil, but that's what a crawfish boil looks like. There's an avocado in there. No, not an avocado.
Artichoke.
Artichoke. Thank you. An artichoke. Right. It looks like there might be some mushrooms in there. So it's really a good thing. You can even drink the broth. People do that too. You can do it at home. You just need a big pot and time. You need crab boil seasoning, red potatoes, okra. That's a big vegetable down there. Onions, corn, sausage. And then when you're done, you scoop it all out. You dump it on newspapers and you eat it with your hands. And just like when you had your first apartment and you didn't have any silverware, or just dump it out. And what you do with the crawfish, there's three things you do. You pinch them, pull off the head. Pinch them, twist them. That's it. Pinch them, twist them, and suck the heads. That's the three things you do, because inside the little crawfish brain, the spices somehow coagulate in there, and that's supposed to be the best part. So now you know more about crawfish boils than you ever.
Yes, I do. I've been educated. Thank you, Paul.
There you go. Okay. All right. Let's move on to Florida. Oh boy, this we've got friends down in Florida. We know some people on your screen right now who go to vacation down in Florida regularly. So this is a warning for one of you. Rhesus monkeys, not the chocolate ones with the peanut butter filling, but the actual live rhesus monkeys. There are at least 200 of them in the Silver Springs State Park. Do you know where that is, John?
No, I'm not sure where Silver Springs is. No, I couldn't tell you for sure, Paul or Karen.
Well, you better find out, because these rhesus monkeys in this park are starting to escape, and they can give you herpes.
No way. No way.
Anyway, what you need to look for. There they are right there. So, if you're getting herpes from monkeys, you should know there's a lot of other things that you could be doing in Florida besides
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. These two monkeys here on the screen, by the way, there was a caption. What they're saying is the one that's picking the bugs out of the other one is saying, I told you that guy was trouble. So that's how she got the herpes, I guess. I don't know. Other things you can do while you're in Florida, you can go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game and watch what's his name, Mayfield.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, from the who used to play for the Browns. He's still in the playoffs. You can go watch them. You can go knock frozen iguanas out of the tree. That's always fun to do. And one more thing, and this is going to bring us to our next shout out. You can eat the world's most expensive ice cream bar. Believe it or not, it's in Florida, and it's in Key West. The Doozy Bespoke Ice Cream Parlor in Key West, Florida, sells the world's most expensive ice cream bar. It's called the TOAK, T-O'-A-K, TOAK bar. It's priced at, and you're looking at one on the screen, you are looking at $250 worth of ice cream bar. Wow. And for those who are just listening
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's one ice cream bar, $250. It's made from their luxury vanilla ice cream. That's not it. A premium chocolate coating, shaved morsels of TOAK, which is the most expensive and rarest chocolate in the world, and then covered with edible 24-karat gold leaf and sugar diamonds.
Wow.
It's so expensive, the stick is chained to the counter. That's how expensive. It's so expensive. It's so expensive. If you get an ice cream headache from it, you have to go to a specialist.
Oh, yeah. I've had many ice cream headaches in my time. Oh, yeah.
It's so expensive. The local Key West ice cream truck is a Brinks truck. It's so expensive. All the Klondike bars in Alaska, I mean, in Hawaii, in Key West, gave up and moved back to Alaska. If you can afford
the reason, that would stand to reason if you think.
Sure. If you can afford one, here's an ad for them. If you can afford one of these $250 ice cream bars, we need to talk to you about sponsoring our show.
Absolutely.
Yes, that would be a plus.
Yes.
That would be a plus.
So here's an ad. So just to tell you how what great fans we have. Two of our fans, Tim and Shirley, happened to be vacationing in Key West, and they saw my post on Facebook, and I sent Tim a message. I said, "Hey, why don't you go buy one of those and bring it back up? We'll put you on the show." So believe it or not, they went to the Doozy Bar, whatever it's called. There's the front of it right there in Key West. They did a field trip for us, and they went down there. Now, of course, the first thing they did was they asked me for a credit card number. So I gave them John. So yeah, I gave them John's number.
What's up with that?
Well, John, they tried it, and you're over your limit. So
no wonder I'm having credit problems. Oh my.
So here's what Tim said to me. He said that they went in, and the owner explained. Here's a couple of people waiting to have one of these bars made. The owner explained to them that this expensive chocolate, comes from 500-year-old trees in Ecuador, and the beans are then aged in gin barrels.
Wow.
So, yeah, how about that? Yeah. So all of a sudden, his wife said, hey, those sound pretty good. Give me John's card again. Let's see if it works.
Hey, wait a minute. This is getting out of control. Here.
So these bars, there's 5 million combinations you can get. Obviously, you start with the bar. You get 4 dips to pick from, 6 drizzles, 6 dusting powders, 36 toppings. Kind of like the actresses that were on the Emmys over the weekend, with all the toppings. Plenty of other things on the menu. For $3.50, if you want on a budget, you can get a vanilla cup, a cup of vanilla yogurt, $3.50.
Okay.
But I heard if you really want to try one of these bars and you don't have $250, you can get one lick for $5. In fact, that reminded me, there was this nice lady in Las Vegas wearing a miniskirt who offered me the same deal. But I didn't realize she was selling ice cream bars.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. That's right, John. Okay. All right. So Tim and Shirley, thank you so much for that. We'll see you when you get back from your trip. And let's move on to the aliens for our paranormal friends out there. So this has been big news in the alien world for some time. I've written about it at Mysterious Universe a number of times. They found these mummies in Peru in a cave that have 3 fingers, 3 toes, and a lot of people think that they're aliens because they have these slanted eyes, and they're not. It's very difficult to tell what they're made out of, what their skin is, because they're mummified. So this has gone all the way to the Mexican Congress, and these aliens were actually presented in a session to the Mexican Congress at the end of last year by some alleged expert, and he tried to pitch them into investigating these things as alien. So sure enough, they did. They actually did. And what they found out, they did DNA tests on them. They were able to take segments from them, and they found out that they are actually dolls. They're not aliens. They're dolls made from bones of animals from Earth and held together with modern synthetic glue. I think I have it. Yeah. There you go. There's some of the X-rays that they got to take of them. So they're dolls. So the government's no longer interested in these things, but Mattel, it turns out, is talking about doing a movie about them. Maybe Barbie versus the aliens or something like that. They also, this guy who presented it said that when he was talking about it, he said that they're aliens and they were pregnant, but they lay eggs instead of having babies the normal way. They laid eggs. So to me, all that's telling me is that these aliens are using Earth as their chicken coop, and they're sending, these little aliens with little eggs in them, and when they're done, they'll come back down and they'll pick them up and go back to wherever it is they came from. Uh, and
Oh,
then look at the fingers on these things, John.
yeah,
And
really,
Kate.
no kidding.
They're awfully long. In fact, the one, oh, that's his back. I was going to say it looks like his feet around backwards, but they turned him around.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What can you do with fingers that long? They don't even have noses. You can't. There's nothing to pick. They don't have ears.
No,
You can't dig in their nose.
that's a question for everyone to ponder, I think, Paul.
Well, okay, John. and they have no thumbs. They have no thumbs. How do they vote on what movies they like or they don't like if you don't have a thumb?
Thumbs
Yeah.
up, thumbs down, right? Yeah.
Yeah, thumbs up or down. How do you steer a spaceship if you don't have thumbs? That's the other thing I always ask when
It's
people
hard to figure out that, that's for sure.
Yeah, how would you do that? It baffles me.
It does.
Yeah. So and they're only 2 feet tall. So I was thinking, speaking of movies, if Star Wars had 2-foot aliens, Han Solo could have been played by Danny DeVito.
Oh, good
Think
one.
about that. Yeah, think about that. It's there we go.
Got it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about candy here for a second. But a lot of candy stories this week. Here's 2 coming up. So the Gummy Candy Company, the people that make gummy bears, it's called Haribo is the name of it. They're a German company, but they have a big facility in Wisconsin. They just broke the Guinness World Record for the largest gummy candy mosaic. I'll show you a picture of it here. There you go. They use,
wow.
yeah, this is a picture of a gymnasium in Parkside, Wisconsin. They use 150,000 gummy bears to create a rectangular mosaic of the mascot of the Haribo company.
Wow.
A bear. Well, go figure. So in the gymnasium, the Guinness people came out. The lady there is holding the Guinness thing. I felt sorry for the poor janitors because it took them 3 days to floss all of that out of the.
Wow.
John, this is a gymnasium floor. This is the University of Wisconsin Parkside, home of the Fighting Ranger Bears. Their mascot. The poor Ranger Bears basketball team had to play on this.
Wow.
No, wait a minute. That's dangerous. That would be dangerous. I mean, how would you do that?
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm thinking. That all that sticky stuff on there. There's no jump shots. There's no jump balls.
Oh, whose idea was this, Paul? Anyway, do we have someone that takes credit for this?
The Haribo company just opened their first American factory in Parkside, Wisconsin. So celebrating the opening. Yeah, they were celebrating the opening. Now, I will say, I had to look it up again because I couldn't believe it. And they didn't put the bears directly onto the floor. They had little trays, and they had like 30 or 40 people who were putting them into the little trays, and then they fit it all together like a puzzle on the floor.
Okay, that was good. That was smart, obviously.
Yeah. So the Haribo company, I happen to like gummy bears. Our good friend and fan of the show, Simon, the high-priced import down in Texas, he loves gummy bears. And when we would go to visit, we would always take gummy bears for him. It's a German company formed by Hans Riegel, and it's in Bonn. So Hans Riegel in Bonn, H-A is the first 2 letters of his first name, R-I is his last name, B-O is Bonn. Put those all together, you get Haribo. That's where the company came from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He started it in 1922, so it's just over 100 years old. And all he had to start out with was a sack of sugar, a copper pot, a marble slab, a stool, a stone-walled stove, and a roller. And using that, he started rolling out this gummy concoction and shaping it into bears.
Wow.
Yeah. The bear is called a gummy Barchen in German.
Wow.
In 2005, the last year they have a total for, they produced almost 100 million gummy bears every day. 100
Every day.
million.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's
every
phenomenal.
single day. Yeah, their slogan is Haribo makes children happy and adults as well, including their stockholders, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Very
Yeah,
profitable company. Very good.
the only
Do
people
they
that
hold
aren't happy.
do
Oh
they
yeah,
hold the patent for gummies
for their particular gummy. There's
of
other
their
people
particular
who
one?
sell
Okay.
gummies. Yeah, we're going to talk about those in a second. But they, the only people who aren't happy are dental hygienists.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so
And
they opened their first factory. Yeah, this is in Parkville in Parkside in Kenosha County, Wisconsin. And so they're producing the gold bears now. So that's candy story number one. Candy story number two, as controversially as this one was, this was even worse. I had no idea how many fans there were of fruit stripe gum. John and Karen, are you fans of fruit stripe gum?
I definitely am. And I
Ah,
can remember distinctly the different flavors. There was strawberry, there was lime. I mean, obviously, I see here orange is there, maybe
ah,
another, another red fruit or whatever. But they were terrific. In
yeah,
fact, they were really much better than the Wrigley or the Beeman's gum. Growing up, those were the standard gum that we would have, right?
yeah, yeah,
They came through and they were sweet. They were very
yes,
sweet.
yeah. Karen, how about you? Were you a
They
fan of
lost their flavor after the first 5 chews.
Did you put it on
that's
the
what I
bedpost at night then?
Yeah.
see, that's what I remembered about them the most was there was this intense burst of flavor on the first five chews, and then it was gone, and you had this little rock in your mouth.
Yeah.
It, I mean, if you want to recreate the sensation, take an orange peel and chew on that, and that's like chewing fruit stripe orange gum after a couple of chews.
Uh,
Well, bad news, John, and everybody out there who's a fan. Uh, the company started over 50 years ago. That's when they started making fruit stripe gum. The Ferrara company is discontinuing it, and the flavors, John, were wet and wild melon, cherry, lemon, orange, and peach smash. Peach smash. I don't know why it smashed. Maybe they got them on sale. Um, so if you miss this, I already said I did that joke. So it was introduced, by the way, you mentioned Beeman. It was introduced by Beechnut, which was another competitor of Wrigley's back
sure.
in 1960. Back when when if you bought, you got more than this gum. The each individual piece of gum was striped, and they were packed in zebra stripe wrappers, which
Hmm.
had
Sure, I remember that.
and they had tattoos on them. They had temporary tattoos. There's another picture of the fruit stripe package. So here's the tattoo. So you can see that's a photo of the
I do
inside
remember that. I do
of the
remember that.
wrapper.
Yeah,
Yeah. And somehow you wet it, I guess, and then you put it on your skin, and you end up with
that's
a
correct.
great
That's correct.
tattoo. Yeah, yeah. Uh, here's another one. Uh, this kid over here, he put it on his face. This is a future prison inmate. Future prison inmate. I am chewing his fruit stripe gum right here. So yeah, during the late 1970s, they had a chocolate version called Chocolate Stripe, which is, to me, that's the perfect thing to chew before you have a dental appointment. Uh, but it wasn't very popular. 1996, found a company, I give them a plug. In 1996, Fruit Stripe gave 5 cents from the sale of each jumbo pack to the World Wildlife Fund. And they ended up giving a total of $100,000 for the preservation of endangered animals and their habitat.
Oh.
They have a zebra. Yeah, they have a zebra on the package. They're animal lovers. So, yeah, for all you fans out there, um, I have one consolation, and this comes from yet another fan of the show, my buddy Robert, who lives right down the street. He saw it and sent something that you can chew on instead, and they are fruit stripe gummies. So it turns
Wow. Okay.
the fruit stripe people, in addition to the gum, they also make their own version of gummies. In answer to your question, Karen. Now they spell their gummy Gummy. The Haribo company called theirs Gummi. Apparently, they have a copyright on that. So I
Okay.
can't tell what animals those are. They might be zebras, but anyway. So the company that first came out with these was Beechnut. John, you mentioned them before, Beechnut. I didn't know this. I looked up the Beechnut company. Beechnut started out making ham. That was, that was the first product that they made and sold.
Didn't know that. Did not know
Yeah,
that.
I didn't know that either. They made ham. Then they started expanding their product line. So they went into gum. What's the connection between ham and gum? You got me. Then, then they expanded into chewing tobacco. So for the adults, once the kids outgrew the fruit striped gum, they started offering chewing tobacco. And then, natural progression, they got into baby food. Remember Beechnut baby food? I don't know.
Sure,
Yeah,
I do. Yes,
yeah.
I do. Uh-huh.
So they go from so this company sells ham, gum, chewing tobacco, and baby food. Go figure. Covering
It's a very diversified product line.
not very wholesome, but very diversified, John. Very good.
Absolutely. Sure.
So Robert, thank you for that.
Yes, interesting.
Yeah, so anyways, that's another shout out to a fan of ours. Okay, the British technology company Robot 3D and the University of Liverpool got together recently. This is a good local story here, even though it starts in England, and they made the world's first pothole filling robot. Here's a photo of it here. That's my cow. Where did he come from? I guess we should talk about him. I lost. Where'd he go? Oh, I guess I didn't write. Oh, okay. Well, I'll fill you in on this. So in India, at the Bank of India, this happened at the Bank of India recently. I'm showing a photo of a cow inside of a bank. Turns out somehow this male cow managed to get through the door and get into this bank, this branch of Bank of India. I forget what city it's in. And there he is standing in line. So people, they didn't care. He's standing in line. Everything was fine until the cow laid a patty on the floor. And then,
No.
well, it's worse, John. The teller said, I need a second form of ID besides that. And
No.
that's when the bull got mad. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh.
The bull got mad at that one. So believe it or not, so this was on social media. You take a look at this picture here. So they're promoting it. They actually put pictures up and they circled the bull with a red circle. Then they pointed to it with an arrow, just in case you can't pick out the bull in a bank lobby with a bunch of people standing around it.
Really? Oh my gosh. Anything's possible these days.
Well, wait, John. They're actually the bank liked the idea so much. They're actually using it in their advertising now.
Really?
Yeah. Come to Bank of India, open a new account at Bank of India, get a bull.
Well, that's something you don't see every day.
Boy, I'll tell you what, and you don't want to see every day either. That's right.
I bet.
We have a lot of potholes in Cleveland. This company in England got together with the University of Liverpool, and they made the world's first automated robot pothole maker. And I'm hoping that's what the next photo. Well, where'd my pothole guy go? I guess I lost him. Okay, I can
talk. Why would you want to make potholes?
Well, no, fill potholes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Fill potholes. So this robot, they built it, and it's got cement or something on the inside of it, and it works autonomously all by itself. It detects the pothole, and then it pulls itself over it, fills it up, and then it's got a little tamper, and it tamps it down. Very, very much an artificially intelligent device. So smart that in it can't be shipped to Cleveland because we have so many potholes here that it's just it would wear itself out. It turns out, I know I have the list of cities here. What happened to this city? So it's held together with duct tape, so it's good. So I thought that Cleveland was the #1 city in the United States for potholes. So I looked it up, and it turns out it's not. We're not even in the top 10. In the state of Ohio, no city in the state of Ohio is even in the top 15. Any guess, John or Karen, and you folks at home can play as well. What city would be number one in the country in potholes?
Fort Worth, Texas.
That's a good, but spoken by someone who just came from there.
Yeah.
John, how about you?
What about Chicago, Illinois?
Chicago, Illinois. John is probably a little bit closer. The actual number one city is New York. Most potholes per person or per car, I guess, in the country. Number two, Los Angeles. Number three, Minneapolis. I could buy that. Number four, Nashville, Tennessee. And number five, San Francisco. Yeah. So they must be making, doing a bad job of making the roads. The worst state of Washington, home of Bigfoot, number one. Number two, Minnesota. Again, that's expected. Number three, Michigan, also expected. Number four, Tennessee. Again, what are they doing wrong in Tennessee when they're building their roads? And number five, yeah, Indiana. So, here's my write-up on the bull. The it was a rough week. Everybody out there listening, not only did the internet problem really screwed up the week pretty good here. So I'm grateful that whatever we did has kept the internet up for half an hour here, and we'll make it through to Bluff the Co-host. Okay, this was another very popular story on Facebook this week. Dale Graybeard Sanders. And you can tell why he's called Graybeard, because he has a long gray beard. There's a photo of him. He departed from Lake Itasca, Minnesota on his 87th birthday late last year and arrived in Louisiana 87 days later, setting a Guinness World Record as the oldest person to paddle the length of the Mississippi. That's our paddle. Yeah. He's in a 15-foot modified canoe. He has a cover over it, but it's definitely a canoe, not a kayak.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
He's got a life jacket on here. So he paddled 2,350 miles in 87 days. This is what people do when they're afraid to take cruises. They do stuff.
It's an alternative. Yeah. Alternative.
He used a canoe. He used a canoe. I looked it up. He used a canoe because there's no songs about canoes. He was going to use, if he used another flotation device, all that would be in his head for 87 days was row, row, row your boat.
Sure. Makes sense.
He trained for it. Believe it or not, looking at him, you wouldn't think he's in very good shape. He trained for it by building a barn. Now, I couldn't figure out what is there in building a barn that makes you physically ready to paddle a canoe. And the only thing I can think of is he went to the gym and asked if they had any paddling machines instead of rowing machines, and they didn't. So he did the next best thing. He also spent tons of time on the internet learning about the adventure. What did he do? Watch videos of people in canoes? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me. He said the most exciting part of the voyage was the vast expansion view of the Gulf of Mexico on the last day of the trip. Got to the end, beautiful view of the Gulf of Mexico. The second most exciting view of that day was a porta potty with a full roll of toilet paper.
Oh boy.
I'm guessing the third was a convenience store where he could buy some beef jerky or something. I don't know. Anyways, okay. One more. This is from my old buddy John. We always like to have a world record. That was a world record right there. This is a more physical fitness world record. This one comes from the Eastern European country of Georgia, not the state of Georgia. Strength and conditioning coach Sandro Parulava is his name. Set a new world record for the most consecutive handstand push-ups. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, there is the gentleman doing a handstand push-up. If you can't imagine it, he is doing a handstand, and he has to bend his arms to an angle of 90 degrees, okay, before straightening him up. Now I think he can bend his legs, but he has to bend his arm 90 degrees and then push himself back up. And he can't fall over. If he falls over, he loses. He has to
That
start
looks painful.
Oh, undoubtedly, Karen. So 61, he did 61 of it. It doesn't say how long it, but he had to do it without falling over. There's other records for continuous handstand push-up, but they like in a minute, but they allow you to fall over and start over again. So he did it without falling over.
Amazing. That is amazing.
Oh, he could have gone further, John, but his nose started to itch. And
that would be a problem. That would be a problem.
Poor guy. Thing to remember, here's what he said, besides getting into shape. He said, the number one thing to remember if you're going to try this record, take all the loose change out of your pockets first.
Yeah, that would be
important. That would stand to reason also.
I can't, I don't know about you, John and Karen, everybody out there. I can't do a handstand even if somebody stands me upside down.
No, I'm right with you in that case. Oh, yeah, for sure. Wow.
All right. Well, that's it for our news stories for the week. And again, thank you to our fans out there who have supplied us with all kind of great commentary and props, and please keep on doing that. We love it. We love saying hi to you. And for those of you out of town, we look forward to seeing you when you get back. So, as I mentioned before, this is a perfect lead-in. The guy doing handstand push-up, perfect lead-in to What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo, my old college buddy. I've known him for years. He knows more about sports trivia than I certainly ever wished to know. Trivia in general, he knows all that good stuff. So every week I challenge John to find a sport that matches the theme of real news, sometimes strange, always funny. Only in this case, a sport. John, every week, manages to come up with one. So this week is one that you may have you may recognize, but I'll let John do the introduction while I set him up over here.
Sounds good. John. Yeah, thanks for the intro. Yes, this is a sport that we have discussed previously on What in the World, but it is very, very strange. The sport this week is ferret legging. Yes, you heard this correctly. The name of this sport is ferret legging.
Now, you would think, everybody out there, that John's favorite sport of all time, of all the sports that we've done over the many years that John has been on our show, that he would pick another one as his favorite sport to bring. He picked ferret legging.
Yes.
Think about it.
Well, it looks like a fetish.
Well, let me explain why. And okay. Let's delve into this, or let's take a deep dive, so to speak, into the sport. So, ferret legging is an endurance event in which ferrets are put inside trousers worn by participants, also known as put them down and ferret down trousers. The winner is the last one to release the animals and can endure what happens when the ferret is in that person's trousers. Now, there is an origin that goes back to the Middle Ages. And this is where individuals used ferrets as hunting animals to chase rabbits and moles out of their burrows. It became illegal unless you were very wealthy. So what happened, poor hunters and poachers were forced to smuggle their ferrets past game wardens. And they did this by putting them down their pants.
Ferret down your pants. If you know what I mean.
The sport was born. Yes, that's how the sport was born, Paul. So it eventually
this is a line of at least three guys shoving live ferrets down their pants. For those of you, you need to see this on YouTube if you're just listening. They really are doing exactly what John said. They are shoving live ferrets with teeth down their pants. Go ahead, John.
It takes a certain amount of courage, I would say, to be able to do that, or another part of your anatomy to do that. But at any rate, so it eventually became so popular in the United Kingdom that it dominated the Yorkshire coal miners in that area of Yorkshire, which is a specific part of England, Paul, as you know. But it became a dominant sport. And in the sport of ferret legging, what competitors do, they tie their pants at the ankles before placing not one, but two ferrets inside and then securely fastening their belts to prevent the ferrets from escaping. Each competitor,
one down each pant leg.
right, each competitor then stands in front of the judges for as long as they possibly can. Now, there are rules. The competitors cannot be drunk or under the influence of drugs, and the ferrets cannot be sedated in any way. In addition, competitors are not allowed to wear underwear underneath their pants, which would enable the ferrets to have free access from one leg to another.
Oh, God.
That's my favorite rule there. John, I want to stop
There's
you
even
for
a better
second
one,
here.
Paul. Wait, there's a better one here.
This photo here shows a lady helping a guy put the ferret down his pants. Now, I'm going to guess if this is his wife, she's really mad at him because why on earth would she lovingly put a ferret down his pants?
Wait, here's the most interesting and obscure rule. So the ferrets, each of them must have a full set of teeth, and these teeth cannot have been filed down, because if a ferret is provided that has filed down teeth, that ferret is disqualified.
Oh, the ferret's disqualified, not the guy.
Right, yes,
yeah.
right.
Not the guy who filed down the teeth or tried
to
sneak in a contraband ferret.
And so, on a positive note, the winner of the contest is the person that lasts the longest, or something like that. Now, from a historical perspective, in 1972, the ferret legging record stood at 40 seconds. In 1977, Edward Simpkins from the Isle of Wight set the new world record of, get ready for this, 5 hours and 10 minutes.
5 hours and 10 minutes with two ferrets down his pants.
That's right. But then on July 5th, 1981, retired miner Reg Malore set the new world record time of 5 hours and 26 minutes.
Oh, no.
Now, wait, Karen. Here's the explanation. Malore's secret was to make sure that the ferrets were well fed before they were inserted into his pants. Now, that record stood until 2010. And then Frank Bartlett, a retired headmaster, and also Christine Farnsworth broke Malore's record when they managed to keep the ferrets in their pants for 5 hours and 30 minutes.
Didn't I hear that a ferret's favorite food is nuts? Somewhere I heard. I also want to
very obvious.
This photo here. This is my favorite photo. This is a photo of a guy pushing a ferret down his pants, and there's a lady and a little girl watching him, and the little girl has such a shocked look on her face.
She is totally flabbergasted by what's going on.
I'm so glad I'm a girl and not a boy.
Oh my God.
Now, on an important note here, okay, for those concerned about animal safety, no ferrets were harmed in the making of this story. And for those wondering what the contestants did after the contest was over, we will give you this tip from the famous comedian Chuckles the Clown. If you recall, one of his punchlines was this: a little song, a little dance, a little seltzer down your pants.
I'm gonna say he would have said a lot of seltzer down your pants, but
Paul and Karen, I'll tell you, the reason that I selected this sport, this is the first sport that we've done a second time, because it is so bizarre.
Yes, it is.
Bizarre.
Yes. Well,
Test the
thank you.
manliness. That's what this poster says. We're looking at a poster here to attract men to come to test their manliness against the razor-toothed little thieves. God, I love it.
But I mean, the origin of the sport goes back again to the Middle Ages. Okay, so there is an origin to it, right? But then in modern times, people are going to say, well, for the challenge purposes, this is what I'm going to do. And it shows you how masculine I am, or how emasculated you could become.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure everybody listening out there is thinking that they can't believe anybody in the United States would do something like this. This is definitely a British sport. Well, I have to say to all of you out there that it turns out John DiNallo and I both participated in ferret legging.
Wait a minute. I'm totally.
Remember that, John?
I'm in the dark on this one. What are you talking about, Paul? I have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I can explain why John may not remember. It was a long time ago. we probably had beverages, but we were challenged by another fraternity to ferret legging, to a ferret legging contest. So John and I, as always, the fraternity selected us because John was our best athlete, and I was just dumb enough to follow him around. So John said, "I'm going to get us all the equipment for ferret legging." So I'm waiting for him, and I went and I got some ferret. So John came back, and here's what John brought for the ferret legging contest back when we were in college. He bought some leggings with ferrets on them.
Oh,
that's
wow.
what we're looking at right here. Leggings.
I think it's for me, it's selective amnesia. I don't remember that.
So John got a bunch of them. Here's another one here. Look at this. Leggings with ferrets on them, available in many colors. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So yeah. John missed the concept, or he's smarter than he looks, and he didn't want to put a ferret down his pants.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look at those. Look at He did some serious shopping, Karen, and everybody out there, because he also found ferret pajamas.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think I've blocked this from my memory forever. I think that's why.
I'll tell you what. Here's what you may remember, John, and that is that I had to save the day, so I went and I got regular pants and I got a ferret, and I put the ferret down my pants. Now, fortunately, there's no photos of that, but there is a drawing. I have a drawing of what happened there. This is
oh my God,
me.
Yep.
With ferrets down my pants.
From that? Did you recover from that? Oh my gosh!
I must. I guess I did. I don't know. This is actually the cover of a book about strange sports in England, and one of them is ferret legging. So
wow. How about that?
Very good.
How about that? Yeah, ferret legging. Boy, John's favorite sport. Who would have picked that one? You need a hat. We need to find you a ferret legging hat.
I'll look into that. Paul and Karen, I'll look into that. I'll look into the ferret. Like, I'll believe me. There's plenty of information I can try to the internet.
Perfect to add to your collection of
I have a great collection of baseball caps. But I'll tell you what I'll do is I can't give you a guarantee as to for our next show, but I'll be on this as a project. So
okay,
good idea.
Bobblehead,
keep you busy.
Oh yeah, ferret legging bobblehead. Wow, that would be
wouldn't that be
that'd be groundbreaking, is what that would be. Wow.
Well, speaking of groundbreaking, let's move on to Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news show. Rules are simple. You don't have to put a ferret down your pants.
Thank goodness.
All you have to do is listen to me tell 3 more stories, similar to the ones that we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference: if those were real, these may be real, may be a bluff. It's up to John, Karen, and those of you playing at home to decide which is which. Betting is allowed, so place your bets. John and Karen, put your hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. It may not be from the current Loch Ness Monster, but a fish and chips restaurant in Scotland is holding a special dinner where the battered and fried fish will contain pieces of a prehistoric dinosaur whose fossils were discovered recently underneath the restaurant when it was having its sewer system repaired. No one knew the fossils were there, and paleontologists identified the bone fragments as being from a plesiosaur, which many believe the Loch Ness Monster is, or at least descended from. The bones belonged to the restaurant, so the chef got approval to pulverize one of them, sterilize it, and add it to the fish batter so that the dish can now be called Nessie and chips. Try it soon. Try it soon while the supply of bones lasts. Okay, a restaurant in Scotland that found a dinosaur underneath it looked like the Loch Ness Monster, so they took the bones, pulverized them, made them into batter, and they now serve Nessie and chips. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
Well, I hope it's not real, and I believe something like that nobody would want to pulverize because it's something that you'd want to preserve. So I'm going to say this is a great fantasy.
Okay, all right. Karen says it's a bluff in much more eloquent words. John, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Karen. This has got to be a bluff. And this is one that you hope, again, is a bluff. I mean, let me ask this question. Who in their right mind would eat something that is from a dinosaur? I mean, think of that. I mean, I know this is weird news and, it's Bluff the co-host and there's things that are all over the lot on this one, but who in the world would want to do that?
I think we're going to be proven wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
You haven't met enough of our listeners, but
well, maybe that's my issue then, maybe Paul. But I'm going to say it's a bluff. I pray it is.
John says it's a bluff too. Karen and John both say that the Nessie and Chips restaurant is a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations to both of you. That is a bluff. I will say this, John.
Good to know.
In Siberia, they're digging up woolly mammoths, which are extinct. They've been extinct for 20,000 years. Frozen pieces of woolly mammoth, and people are bidding to eventually eat those. So, but yeah, I agree. Like a dinosaur bone, yeah.
Oh,
okay. Anyways. Scores tied 1-1. Let's go right to story number 2.
Okay.
The quest to identify the 11 herbs and spices used in the KFC chicken coating has gone on ever since the chain was started by Colonel Sanders as Kentucky Fried Chicken. But now his nephew has revealed that no one will ever figure it out because of a sly trick his uncle played. It turns out there are actually 13 secret herbs and spices, but the colonel thought that number was unlucky, so he used 11 in his famous ads touting the secret recipe. While he wouldn't reveal the exact the nephew hinted that one of the extra ones would gross out many people and the other one would shock Southern cooks. No matter how many herbs and spices are on it, the recipe is locked in a safe that ironically is not even in Kentucky. Okay, so the nephew of Colonel Sanders, who revealed that it's not 11 herbs and spices, it's actually 13 herbs and spices, a trick played by his superstitious uncle. Real or bluff, John? What do you say?
Well, Colonel Sanders was kind of an interesting guy, and he was a risk taker, obviously. Yeah. And I could see him doing something like this, so I'm going to say it's real.
Okay, John, fan of KFC, I know that. John says that's a real story. Karen, how about you?
I'm going to go along with it because nobody really reveals their true recipe. So, yeah.
Okay.
So Karen and John both agree that's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, sorry, that's a bluff.
Really?
Still locked in a safe somewhere. There are no 13 spices. People have tried to figure it out, reverse engineering pieces of chicken. No one knows.
This is a prime story for a conspiracy theory of 12 secret herbs and spices.
I was actually I had a line for the 12. Yeah, that made too much sense, so that's why they went to it. That's why they.
Yeah, right, exactly. That sounds like you. Okay, all right.
All right, so the score is still tied 1-1. Points are doubled in round number 3, but it doesn't matter. Whoever gets the right answer here wins. If it's a tie, it's a tie. Everybody wins. Story number 3. Oil is king in Texas, but some people also consider it their god. Those would be members of the Our Lady of Exxon Methodist Church, which is built on top of an operational gas station in Texas. The Holy Alliance between church and gas station began in the 1960s when a local millionaire wanted to build a church next to a hotel he owned. But there was a gas station on the property and the owner wouldn't sell it. So the man instead built the church on top of the gas station, and they have spiritually coexisted ever since. While the station is now a Sunoco and the church has a more proper churchy name, well, everyone knows it as Our Lady of Exxon, where it's okay to pray for lower gas prices. John or Karen, we'll start with you first. A church in Texas made above a gas station called Our Lady of Exxon. Real or bluff?
Well, I want to apologize to all the wonderful Texans out there, but you are all a little bit weird. So I can say this is true.
Whoa. Oh, okay. Make sure you send all your hate mail to Karen Hale, care of
Right. Yeah. You go ahead, but I still love all of it. Yeah.
Karen says that's a real story. John, how about you?
Well, yeah, I agree. I think it's a real story. I think that knowing Texans, okay, just in general, and in the 1960s, a lot of change occurred in the 1960s. I could see this easily happening. I'm going to say it's true.
Oh, wow. Boy. So John and Karen both say that Texas is just weird enough to make a church called Our Lady of Exxon. So they both say that's a real story. We'll check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations to both of you. That is a real story. And
all right.
Karen, I would send this message to your son because that church is in Arlington, Texas.
Oh right? My gosh, I'm going to have him go look for it. Yes.
Arlington, Texas.
Have him seek it out. Have him seek it out.
It's a real Methodist church. It's in the news because they're remodeling, and I think they're rebuilding it. But they're preserving it, and it will continue to be Our Lady of Exxon. So, congratulations! High score, just like in soccer, everybody wins. So both of you celebrate for the next short week. We will be back next week on Tuesday, our regular date and time.
Okay, good.
I want to thank Karen Hale, our media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, co-host, producer of the show. Thank you for all the great things you do for us and for all of the podcasters at newclevelandradio.net. Go there, find out how to download us, how to find us on YouTube. When you do all those things, make sure you follow us and like us and do all those things so we know you're there. I also want to thank my good buddy John DiNallo for What in the World of Sports and his color commentary and being there for us every week. Thanks for everything you do for the show, John, and hopefully we can still root for the Cavaliers, right?
Yeah, you're very welcome, Paul. And how about a shout out to the Cavaliers? The Cavaliers have won 6 games in a row, and they're clearly playing the best basketball of the season so far. So good for them. They've had some serious injuries, but they're playing really well as a team, and they're going to be a force in the playoffs. Take that to the bank.
We also shout out to the Panther City lacrosse team because
Panther City.
We love them. Karen's got their shirt on. They're our favorite lacrosse team, so we always want to mention them. And most of all, we want to thank our listeners. You guys are great, guys and gals, and whatever terminology you want to use. We appreciate all the stuff that all of you tuning in. We appreciate the stuff you send us. Brian, Mark, everybody who sent us stuff. Thank you so much for doing that. Bob and all of you, and Tim and Shirley, all of you who correspond with us on Facebook. Thank you for doing that. We have listeners around the world. I had somebody, I think I mentioned to Karen before, from Nigeria, quite a few in Africa, quite a few in Eastern Europe. We don't know where you're coming from, but we're so glad you're listening to us, whether you like the funny stories or you're just learning English. and we're
there's a benefit somewhere.
We don't care. We're glad you tuned in. And on that note, we will be back on Tuesday next week at 3:30. if you want to listen to us live. Otherwise, stay warm if you're in Northeast Ohio. We got a big snowstorm coming in. Stay warm if you're down in Texas and all those other places where it's cold. And we will see you next week.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.
And don't forget, when you send something, we take cash too.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Very
We
good.
take cash. That's right. Because we know John's credit card bounced. So we'll
That's
take it.
right.
No kidding. I got a problem I had down there, so all
Yeah,
right.